Alright, so we just got Red Bull back. He snarled at a couple of the dogs in the pack. He didn't used to do that, so we're just kind of starting over. I got Kahlua out here. Got her on the long leash. You get rid of the dynamic of the pack so that way she kind of eases out of her. She was very tight, you know. So I wanted to kind of be able to move around a little bit. Here I'm not going to give her a lot of direction unless she gets at the end of the leash or sees one of our off-leash or wild dogs. Not wild dogs, but dogs that's roaming the neighborhood around here. So if you notice, hey, come on, big girl. Right. Again, we got Chloe here off-leash. Hey. So all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see how hard it is to get her attention. Hey, let's go. Which, it's not hard at all. She didn't even make it to the end of the leash. So, if I have her attention out here where she hasn't been for a very long time, all kinds of new smells, and over here there's a bunch of homeless people with dogs and stuff, and you know, there's all kinds of squirrels around and cats around and everything else. Hey. So here I didn't get her attention. Hey. Hey. So I got her attention, then she looks away. So now I'm going to go ahead and reel in the leash a little bit. So now I can get her attention. Hey. Perfect. Now we move on. Okay. So we don't want to make it like very intimidating or anything like that. Because she's coming from a nervous space. If I get a dog that's more assertive or aggressive or dominant, then I'll be more kind of louder. Hey, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Look, come on. That's another cool thing about the leash, is they'll step on it when they're walking, so the leash is another way for them to feel like they don't have absolute control. Hey, let's see how I can do this with filming. Got the big old ghetto chain. Not for the dogs, it's for the fence. Sorry about the footage, but I gotta take care of this real quick. We're almost there. We're almost there. Hey. Perfect. Alright, come on. So a good way that you can start working the mind of the dog and becoming leader of the dog is just to do basic everyday activities with the dog. If you mow the lawn, put the big old long leash around your belt and mow the lawn. You know, just keep the dog under control. Also, if the dogs are... Hey! Let's go! Come on! Chloe got caught up with the smell. Hey, Red Bull! Hey! Come on. Easy. So when they start jogging ahead, I'm going to go ahead and correct that. Hey. Again, I'm not using anything other than my presence, my voice. Good girl. Hey, let's go. So if you notice in the last video, when Red Bull was uncomfortable with Kahlua, this is a great way for them. Hey. So see how far ahead she's getting? There we go. Cool. It's a great way to get them to kind of be good for each other, be buddies, be friends. See, Red Bull's not really paying attention to Kahlua, and then Kalua's not really paying attention to Red Bull, but they're just kind of doing this activity where we're hanging out together. So it's a cool bonding move, you know, without having to force anything. And then, when that happens and nothing, nobody fights or nobody gets bit or nobody gets scared or nervous or dominated, then that happens again, then that happens again. Eventually, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, we're cool with each other. So, she's a very mild case. There's some dogs that just when they see another dog, they react. So, this wouldn't be how I would handle a case like that. So stuff like this, when the entryway is very narrow, I got to make sure I'm in front. Like little tiny things like that matter. Again, the gate. So I'm going to do a little structure here. Hey. I'm going to open the gate, make sure she doesn't get up. I want her looking at me, not the gate, before she leaves. Good girl. Right? Hey. Good girl. Come on. Cool. So just stupid stuff like that, If you do like basic activities, it doesn't have to be like a whole, jump. And that was cool. Kahlua was sniffing the back of her. You saw for a second she got uncomfortable, but then she dealt with it. So if you're able to do like little minor activities like that while having control, it'll make bigger situations dwindle down and be easier. Red Bull. Hey. What are you doing? Goofy. So now Red Bull's starting to come out. You see how she's kind of jogging around a little bit. The tail's out. So the pack made her uncomfortable. So there might be members of the pack that, hey. So I don't like her by the fence. I don't want her sniffing around the fence. I don't want her touching the fence. Because in my mind, the way that I view that is that she's kind of challenging her boundaries or borders or structure. And so I'll always discipline that. And for me, discipline is very easy. It's two things. I just want the dog's attention on me, and I want the dog to begin to start calming down. And then once that happens, the discipline's over. So discipline is a scary word for a lot of people, especially in rescue. Oh my God, it's been tied to a tree for 7 years. I can't discipline. Well, discipline is not a bad or angry or frustrating or egotistical thing. It's a way that we can mold them into becoming the perfect pet and perfect pack member and perfect family member. Just like you discipline your kids, you don't get crazy with them. You just kind of guide them to behave into the kind of kids that you want to have around the house later on. And what it does also, it prepares them for later on. And so if I can control my dog in the house, then I can bring another dog in the house, or I can bring a party at the house, or I could work on my car at the house, or I could mow my lawn without the dog freaking out, or the mailman can come to my house without freaking out. So if you start off with some basic things that you can start to get control over, the process is very dynamic because it'll allow you to do things that you didn't anticipate. So if for instance, Red Bull's nervous, which we saw in the last video, hey, Red Bull, come on. Let's go. Good girl. So in the last video, when you saw that she was nervous, and in this video, she's kind of running around. But see, I should be able to control this. If I can't, then it doesn't make sense for me to move forward. So if I can control this and I move forward and I start taking her to dog parks, dog beaches, whatever, that's fantastic. Because I need to understand that if there were a dog fight, that I can control her in that chaos. And there's ways that you can prepare to be in those situations without, having it dangerous or anything like that, Again, I always tell people, walk your dog around the dog park without going in and see how your dog does, see if you can get their attention. Again, what you're looking for is you're looking to be able to get their attention no matter what's going on. So if you take them to a truck stop where there's a lot of trucks and she's freaking out, then your goal is not to do anything other than to be able to get her attention at the truck stop. And then you go there a few more times, and eventually you want to be able to calm her down at the truck stop. And then the truck stop won't be a big issue. But if you see a truck for the first time, hey, and you never, ever, ever get her to be calm at home, how in the world are you going to be able to calm her while you're on a walk if a truck or a stupid Civic with the horrible exhaust goes by you? I always talk about, it's like we're running before we crawl. Let's go ahead and get some of these basic dynamic things. And I don't care about sit, stay, place. And I know a lot of dog trainers do, and it's a useful method of controlling dogs' physical, their bodies. But I always challenge people to go after the dog's mind instead of that. And so one thing that typical dog training uses that I love is the eye contact. I love when they do the focusing on the human. Because again, the dog's, in my opinion, only able to focus on one thing at a time. So the dog's focused on you, then the bus, the truck, the cat, the dog, it doesn't exist. But if they're staring at that cat, then we have to understand that we don't exist. So we have to be able to snap or clap or say hey. That's why I say hey all the time. I'm trying to get their attention off of whatever they're doing. And sometimes it's meaningful, like, hey, don't do that. And then sometimes it's like, hey, I'm just kind of checking to see if I can get your attention off of whatever you're sniffing. So the 2 times I've called Red Bull over here, when she goes over there, she can't do anything. There's a fence right there. She can't do anything. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to get her to get used to coming to me despite what she wants to do. Red Bull, hey, let's go. Red Bull, come on. Good girl. Hey, come here. Good girl. Good girl. So when you pet her, she should be calm. If your dog is chilled out and then you pet her and she starts jumping and getting all crazy, understand that you represent excitement to that dog. You don't represent calmness or structure or authority. Oh, girl. Oh, Red Bull. So here's baseline happy Red Bull. This is a Red Bull that I always want to see right here. Not scared, not in the corner, not running around, not, you know. I don't care if she plays, but I have to have the baseline of this. Good girl. Good girl. Red Bull. Good girl. There we go. That Red Bull's already starting to come back, you see. So I want her to be okay with the pack, but if I need to get rid of the pack in order to spend some time with her to be able to create this, what we had before, that's fine too. And then once she's okay with me, then when we bring out the pack, she'll come to me, and that's perfect. But what I can't have her doing is sitting there controlling her space and giving dogs, you know, the evil eye and all that kind of stuff, you know. And in a day or so, she'll be running around. We have a dog named Mavis who's running around and very playful and stuff like that. And she'll bring out, they'll be playing in here in next probably 2 days or so. But right now, I honestly don't even want her to play, because if she has that nervousness, then her playing may bring that out. And I want to bring that out without the excitement of the play. I want to bring that out when she's just sitting there. So that way it's easier for me to kind of get rid of that side of her. So if she's excited and playing and then that happens, it makes it more difficult for me to be able to, like, surgically remove that little out of her. You know, because not only do I have to deal with that possessiveness or territorialism or whatever the case may be, but I also have to deal with the excitement of the play, and then I have to deal with the excitement of the other dog, and then I have to deal with other dogs that aren't into the play who may at some point decide to respond to the play to kind of correct it. So that's a dominant behavior, so I got to deal with that too. So if I put myself in a position to be spread too thin, then honestly, that's my bad, you know. So again, I just stand up and she's like, stop smelling, and comes over to me more than my dog does. Hey. I think that's a poop walk. Oh, girl. So anyway, folks, just another little update. So I've done 2 15-minute videos. So we probably had Red Bull here for about 40 minutes, and I'm already seeing changes in her. You know, they said that she was crazy on the leash, and even walking in, I made her sit 3 or 4 or 5 times, and she was just back to normal. Huh, girl. Red Bull. So this is Red Bull. Beautiful. Small dog, not a big dog at all. There we go. See, no snarling, no nothing. Just a good, happy, polite little encounter. And that's what we're looking for. Good job, Red Bull. Good job. Good job, girl. She's very playful. Good girl. What is it? There we go. We're going to bring this dog back. All right, folks. Have a great day. Peace. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the dogs, do me a favor. Give me that thumbs up. Let's try to build this channel and do some great things for these rescues. Thank you. Bye.